Welcome to another episode of Power Alphas. My name is Sabby Piscitelli, and I'm with my beautiful, beautiful fiance, Mandy Saccomanno, better known as Mandy Rose in the WWE world, where in this podcast, we're talking about inspiring true stories, failure, success, and everything in between. We really want this to be a relatable thing to everybody. I want everyone to listen, learn, and see from people's mistakes, their failures, but also everybody has triumphs, everybody has struggles, and I just am excited to continue this journey today. And we have our first guest, which my beautiful fiance will introduce in a second. But before she comes on, she is a bad woman. Extremely, extremely successful, extremely motivated, and I'm so excited to have this podcast with her and have this conversation.
Yes, this guest is amazing. I've always looked up to her. She is so inspiring. Honestly, her accolades are there. There's a long list. I have to read them right now because I can't even remember them all. A United States Marine Corps veteran, former military SWAT team member, military police officer, former WWE sports entertainer, mother, wife, business owner, and so much more. Please welcome our first guest, Macey Estrella.
Wow.
Hi, Mace. Yes, of course. We're so excited to have you. Thank you for joining. You are our first guest, so this is exciting. So, Mace, I know, we go a long way. I actually was just thinking about it the other day when the first day we met. I don't know if you remember, but we were at the Performance Center in Orlando. And I just remember you in like your army getup, I think you were in, and I was like, oh, wow, this woman is badass. I found out some information about you, where you came from and stuff. And I remember you came up to me and you were just very like brutally honest and just like personable right away. And you were like, how do you do your makeup like this? You looked at me like, and do you remember that?
I do, and I remember I saw on Noof a
Yes.
hair extension for the first time, and I tried to pull it. I thought it was like something that was stuck in her hair, and I tried to pull like this little piece of plastic, like, oh, hold on. And so she got very offended, which I understand, but absolutely. I mean, you guys, when I came in there, I looked like a Marine, and
Mm-hmm.
you guys look like beautiful models, and I'm just standing here like, how do I look like that without having to wear those in my hair? Yeah, somebody keep me, please.
Yeah, no, it was so funny. You were like, all right, am I going to have to do my own makeup like this? Because someone's going to have to show me. And you always killed your own makeup, so you learned really quick. But anyway, that was my first experience with you. But I want to thank you for coming on. I also want you, this is, we're really excited to start this podcast. We're new to this, so, bear with us. It's been a great run. I just want to share a lot of, your story, your successes over the years, your failures, your triumphs. I know you've been through a lot, and I know we've talked a lot about our families and some kind of common ground where we kind of stand. So however you want to start it off, but tell us a little bit about your upbringing and how you were raised and and so forth.
Yeah. So, I mean, just to clear the air, our connection as far as like families go is addiction. And, you and I throughout NXT and into WWE, we've dealt with a lot of terrible, terrible things with addiction. So when I learned that from you, I could, I just felt like I could be like a shoulder, I guess, because I relate so much. So my father lost his life to addiction. He overdosed 2 months before my WWE tryout. Um, my family, siblings, a lot of people within my family still struggle with a lot today. My mom just got 1 year sober from
Yes.
alcohol, so that's been incredible. And Sabby, I think NXT sitting backstage, at the NXT catering, I mean, we've dived into conversations about our family too. So like all three of us here, I think kind of can relate. But I also feel like because we can, that is more of a reason why we are such alphas in a way, because we know what not to be, so much so that we refuse to freaking to fall into that. So it's been really cool that I'm your first guest for one. But just a lot of people, a lot of the fans out there that know everything, they have no idea.
Mm-hmm.
um
Mm-hmm.
and so it's been cool to have that connection. but yeah, so I joined WWE from active duty. So I was scouted, I was recruited out from Ted DiBiase. I was never a wrestling fan. I never watched it. I had a very, very rough childhood growing up, and luckily, because of me, stomping my feet and ensuring I could tell my story on WWTV, which I don't regret at all. I think that's my biggest accomplishment, is being able to tell my story in a way that people can hear it and see that it doesn't matter where you come from, that you could become anything you want. And so I wanted people to hear my
Absolutely.
story and be
Yeah.
able to kind of relate to it and realize like that she's still up there kicking ass and taking names mentally, physically, emotionally, financially. And there was a lot of people that were trying to fight me, like, no, we can't talk about addiction, we can't talk about that. And I was like, bullshit. Like, I signed on my WWE contract, when I was, I think, 25, almost 26. And my goal was to be able to use that platform to make a difference. And I'll be damned if I wasn't going to get to do so. I don't care if it was over with the fans. I don't care if I was over. There were millions of people who heard my story. There were mothers and fathers out there that are addicted. There were children going through that life, and they were
Mm-hmm.
listening to it. And to me, that was worth all the weight in gold. So
100%.
Wow.
And it's real life, Mace. And I love that you stand by that, and you were always, you don't listen to what other people have to say, but you stood by that, and you broke the cycle. And I think that's what, like, a lot of people kind of go through. And like you just said, it doesn't matter where you come from. It doesn't matter where how you were raised. Unfortunately, growing up with addictive, people in your family that's addicted to something, you broke the cycle, and you're able to show people that you can break the cycle. You don't have to follow their footsteps. And I think that's so amazing that, you have accomplished so many things through that.
So
thank you.
it is, babe. You're absolutely correct. First of all, Macy, I wanted to say on this podcast, congratulations on all your success. I really do admire even the list I'm reading, right? Like, for me, I look at things like this differently because I understand the sacrifice. I understand the work ethic. I understand the dedication. I understand what you have to give up to accomplish these things. I admire it. But there's one thing you just said that I really want to focus on for a second. Addiction. Okay. You focused on addiction. Now, the difference between you and some people in your family is you have an addiction. An addiction is an obsession with something, right? An addiction is an obsession that you can't get out of your mind. So some people put the addiction in bad spots: drugs, alcohol, anything that's a weakness. But because we have a choice, and I think that's where I want this podcast to go. And I think I want you to talk about this because you had a choice, right? You had family members that had addiction to the wrong thing. And their obsession ultimately can lead to death. But look at your addiction. What your obsession was to be successful. And I want you to kind of dive into that because I want people to hear your story, because someone that accomplished all this has to be obsessed, has to be addicted, and has to have the work ethic that people need to hear, because people will see the word addiction. People always talk about it in a negative way, right? But it's not a negative way when you're successful, because you cannot be successful without being obsessed. So I just want you to kind of touch on that word addiction, on how you spun it to be as motivated as you are as a woman today.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it all stemmed from being a child, like a young, not even quite yet middle school, and having to step over my parents' bodies who are high on the floor,
Wow.
having to catch the bus myself. I started drinking coffee at a very young age, at 12 years old. Um, and I became addicted to never ending up like the body that I was stepping over
There you
to
go.
get to school. So from then, I mean, I got my first job at 14. I started wrestling in high school, became a first in the state of Florida, undefeated state champion, ninth in the nation.
Wow.
I utilized school and sports in every aspect of my life to stay so busy that I didn't have time to be on the floor. That was my thing. I was so addicted to not becoming that, that I just literally poured myself in every minute of every day on staying busy, because I feel like an idle mind is the devil's handiwork. And the minute that you stop hustling, you stop being so addicted to working and pushing forward. That's when you start to, not only mental health wise, but just wrong decisions and wrong people and wrong crowds. Next thing you know, you got 24 hours and you're wasting the whole damn time on stuff that's going to get you nowhere, but in a negative mindset, right? So when I became state champion wrestler, ninth in the nation, I met my husband at 15. You want to talk about addicted? I'm addicted to being the best wife that I could
Love
be.
it.
And we've been married since
Love it.
19, 2 children, 5 more on the way.
She's not kidding. No.
No, absolutely not. So I'm just addicted in like you said, Tina, like freaking making things work and not giving up and not being on the floor, and that not just on drugs, just not sitting down, not laying down for nobody at any time, including my family. Like I have to be strong for them, right? So like I cannot fill my family's cups if mine aren't full. So before I did anything today, I made sure I got up, I got a workout in, I made sure I got my protein, I made sure
Awesome.
I was set, I made sure I was taken care of, because I'm so addicted in taking care of them and making sure they have what they need. Well, they can if I don't, right? So that I just put my best foot forward, and so next thing you know, I'm graduating high school, joining the military at 19, um, graduating company's highest shooter, right? Because I'm that addicted that I'm gonna, if I find out what is considered top of the top of the top, that's what I'm gonna shoot for. I graduated honor grad out of MP school, squad leader out of MCT school. So now I'm top of my class, honor grad out of corporal's course, made it. I was the only female on a SWAT team because I'm that addicted, right?
There
Like
you go.
the minute you stop is when everything falls. And you guys know that is mental health wise alone, is that's what I'm talking about. The minute you stop, you know that you start falling into this not even, it's like a not even like a real thing, right? It's just mentally, not
Oh,
financially, not like just mentally, to where, and it's a scary thing, right? So while addicts may be extremely addicted to drugs, alcohol, meth, you name it, I'm addicted to that hustle, just so I don't end up on the floor, that I remember at 12 years old, that I don't end up with cigarette burns on my stomach from getting high and letting cigarettes burn, that I don't end up in a moldy ass trailer, a rundown tent, having to pick corn out of the cornfield to eat. I'm so addicted to not having to choose and live like that. I'm not living in my car anymore. My babies will not have to step over a hole in a trailer floor anymore. My car will continue to run. There will not be paraphernalia in there. My kids will not have to. I'm addicted to ensure that shit doesn't happen. And then one thing led to another, and because of that addiction, right? That addiction for success of, but it also depends on what is success to you, because success to me is not, and I'll say it, I'm going to piss a lot of people off on this podcast today,
Love
but
it.
I don't give a shit, like you can't cancel me at this point. And not that I gave a shit to begin with. Back then, how I lasted 7 years in WWE, I have no idea. Because the same mouth was the same one backstage. I can't tell you how many damn fights I almost got into. And I verbally told them every time, I'll work at McDonald's before I ever sit back and have anybody talk to me the way that you're talking to me, because you feel like I owe you something. The only thing I owe you is working my ass off to have a good match. Back here, there's no damn way that I'm going to let anybody talk to me just because you've walked down a road.
Chills.
got me hyped. Let's go.
Not doing it.
So
I
good,
love it.
Macy. Wow, it got me chills.
So yeah,
Good for
it's
you.
been a few times. I mean, but luckily the powers that be liked me enough to, to each year I just got, a little bit more, and WWE's been great to me. They've been awesome. I've invested every bit of my money. I haven't taken out loans. I have investment properties, real estate. I've got a full business paid for. I'm in a good place because I was smart, and I took, because you remember that addiction, right? Well, that doesn't stop. It doesn't stop every day. Just like the power alphas that are on this whole podcast, every day we wake up, and it's not if, it's when, and we have to be ready to fight that head on, whatever it may be. And a lot of people don't have that mindset. And there was one comment that I made, we were all kind of like just smirking about earlier, and it's like, you can tell an alpha from where they end up, and it's not always the ones holding a title above their head. Sometimes it's the ones that never got to touch that shit, because we are alphas. I'm not standing outside of doors anymore waiting on answers that there's whoever the powers that be can't even look me in the eye and tell me. I don't got time for that. So I got babies to feed and a husband to please, and I'll be damned if I'm gonna live like that and have people talk to me a certain way because they feel like I don't owe anybody a damn thing, because I work hard. I work my ass off every day. So if they can't make a decision, I will. And I ask, for my release, I asked if I could, like, verbatim, can I slip out the side door? Because I'm addicted to not sitting in catering and
Right.
not be able to I'm not doing it. Alphas can't do that. I'm not it's just impossible. Like it's physically, and you guys know, there's no damn way. Like,
Nope.
I coming from where I come from and what I've been through and what I've had to do, nobody's going to talk to me any certain way. I'm not going to sit my ass in catering eating steak anymore. Love the catering food, by the way. It's incredible.
You did?
I mean,
Oh, no, I'm kidding.
no, but think about where I come from, Mandy. You know what I mean? I'll tear up one of
True, I'm
their
talking
steaks
from.
and their dried ass chicken all day long, and be very grateful for it. But that addiction and this alpha mentality, I've got to be making moves. And if you don't see me as the top guy and you have the ability to make that choice, let me go, because I know where I'm a top guy. I know where I freaking thrive the most, and I'm a thriver. I gotta go. I took a. This is so funny. You want to talk about freaking hustlers? And I took a pay cut to even be in WWE, which is wild, because I'm thinking I could use my platform, right? That hustling mentality where I'm addicted, right? I want to help people so much so that it's like that was my main goal in WWE, because I'm an alpha and I want to be able to tell my story, use my story, and help people. Because I know what I've accomplished already. Before I even joined WWE, I've had multiple properties, 18 acres, my family's set up. I've got a military career. I run a construction company, but I don't have the platform that I could help human beings in a shit ass situation where I come from. So then my mind, that was my main goal. Yeah, I didn't foresee myself holding a title up, because that, to me, that doesn't make me feel accomplished. That don't that to them personally, if to each his own. So this is my opinion, but like, to me, that holding that above my head is not what made me excited to wake up for. It was being able to make a difference, so much so to human beings' lives, which was wild, because WWE is known for, helping a lot of people and like working with the military and working with some stuff. But it's like, what about the ones of us that are sitting back there? Right. And that's what tore me down the most. It wasn't if I was over, if I got to go out. Can I at least make a damn difference while I'm sitting here? That was my question. Like, what are we doing? If you don't need me to run out there and flip flop around and jump off ladders, which I will, I did. I ran with the best of them motherfuckers, and I didn't even know how to do that shit. Then at least let me go and make a difference in the community and more. But it's business, right? It's a
But
business. That is a huge, they don't got time for that. That's not their priority. They look at income ratio and what they can make money off of. And unfortunately, being able to discuss mental health, addiction, drugs, and a shit ass life and a mentality like no other, and being able to share that's not that they're not going to make money that way.
Preach.
it's no. Listen, you are so spot on, and I think all three of us are very grateful and thankful for WWE and the platform they gave us. But you said it spot on. I believe, and I don't care what people are not going to like my opinion, but they are intimidated by alphas. They're intimidated by alpha men, and they're intimidated by alpha women. And what they're really intimidated by is somebody that had any kind of success before they got there. Because Vince McMahon is, I made him. I made The Undertaker. I made John Cena. I made Triple H. And good, great. That's an amazing accomplishment. It's an amazing industry. But I ran into the same problem. I was an alpha. I was a starting safety in the NFL. I already made millions. So they didn't like that. They knew that they couldn't control this character. And I see that a little bit in you, and I can see in your frustration. They have an alpha woman who they weren't really using correctly because they've seen your success. They've seen what you accomplished. And I think Mandy was in the same boat in the late of her career, because all of a sudden Mandy got so big on NXT and was carrying the show that they got intimidated by that, because they're like, oh, hold on. Let's calm this down. We can't let her blow up too quick. We got to control her. We got to put the strings on her. And I think that's the thing in that industry is alpha presence. I don't think they do as well in that industry, because there's a lot of egos, man, that control the writing on the paper. And life is not about writing on the paper, right? And man, you just made some incredible points. And I also want to say, what I think is beautiful about your story is you learned at an early age where to put your addiction and where to put your obsession. And I admire that coming from a broken home. I admire that tremendously.
And without even, sorry to cut you off, but without even having anyone to kind of show you either.
Absolutely.
Like you kind of did it on your own, which, you know, as a woman, that's an amazing accomplishment. And I think that's so inspiring for other women. And that's why when you talk about, you know, using that platform to showcase what you have done, there are so many other people that are in your footsteps. And, you know, listening to you speak about this and how I can relate after I lost my brother to addiction, it's like, I mean, I had chills listening to it. And I remember specifically when I went to, it was a situation backstage. You'll remember we were right by one of the cases. It was in, I forget where it was. And I think I told you this, babe, the story with Lacey, Macey, sorry. And I was having an issue with my brother, Richie, at the time. And he was in and out of rehab, whatever it was. And I was upset about it. And I remember you came up to me and you were like, Mandy, you gotta let it go. And you were like, not in a sense like you don't care, but you get to a point where you enable them. And that's what I was doing probably at the time. I mean, you know, helping him out here when he needed money and whatever it may be, because I didn't know what else to do. Like, he's crying for money. Obviously, the money's going to drugs and alcohol, whatever it was. But it's your brother, you know, what else do you do? And my whole thing was I was constantly trying to take the stress off my dad and off my mom for so many years that I was like, I'm going to do this. And, you know, try not to get upset because my eyes are already tearing from this stupid eyelash. Anyway, and I remember you just trying to help me because you've been through so much and you were there for me. And you know, as much as I probably took it and I was upset at the time and I was like, you know, I know you're right, but how do I let go? Right. And I feel like that's a huge thing. And just listening to you speak and knowing how many people you can touch and inspire and what you could have done. Obviously you've done a ton, but what you could have done, like you said, with that platform, you know, this is a huge problem in this world. Why wouldn't they want that? I mean, really, that, like,
Can't control it.
yeah, but someone who's been through so
it's
much.
money. It's all about money. It's like,
Yeah.
what will make us money, right? And the drug addiction, depression, mental health, which, I mean, WWE's, they're brilliant. They're brilliant. I don't give a shit about the money. In fact, we'll jump into my fan time, my whole page, my spicy content, my great. I have never felt better.
Let's hold on before I love it.
Like, oh my God, like, that's besides the point. But before I roll into that, I remember that conversation. That was before he lost his life. And I told you, not only do you have to let it go for yourself, you have to be selfish at some point in your life, right? Because and I've been blessed with WWE too, that I came into this with my kid, right? So I had something that was far worth more than any gold around my waist. Like, and my husband alone, I came in with a full-blown happy ass family, full-blown happy ass company, money. I came into this with the mindset of, okay, I'm gonna make a difference, not money wise. I'm gonna make a difference on using this platform. And I'll never forget. So unlike you, Mandy, when I lost my dad, I saw him in November and he died in July. I saw the last time I saw my dad, he was holding my daughter, and I'm going to cry because it's hard to talk about.
I know.
But he was holding my kid, and she was tiny, and he was so high that he had fell off the bed. And he hit the ground, and I grabbed my baby, and right then I knew that he could take his last fucking breath and I was going to be okay, because my daughter, who he almost dropped, needed a mother. And it was my choice to be so addicted to giving her a good mom that I don't end up doing what just happened, right? So, and same thing with WWE. I came in with my kids, so like I had a whole different mindset. My kid saved my life. My kid is the reason why I can wake up, drink that coffee, and why when I got the phone call that my daddy died, I was just fine because it was my responsibility to
Mm-hmm.
be just fine and to ensure that.
Mm-hmm.
So like I've been blessed that like my kids is like, I mean, you want to talk about quality of life now in comparison to what it was for 7 years in WWE? Holy shit! Like
Hmm.
it's just priorities, right? I came in with such amazing priorities that like my life outside of that was golden, was like I said, better than any title around my waist. My excitement and my hustle was being able to make a difference, and use that platform that I can't say I wasn't given because I got to tell my story. I fought for that. And I remember a lot of people saying, oh, well, it may not get over. They may not take it. Well, I don't give a shit how they
Okay.
take it.
Hmm.
That's why
This is what I
that's
want to
why
do.
I don't know
I
how I
love it.
lasted so long. It was the ones who needed to hear the story heard it and they took it and did what they needed to do with it. And that to me, that was the best thing that I could have ever done within this company. And I don't regret it at all.
No,
Exactly.
it's unbelievable, Macy. It really is. I do want to ask you a question. I want to jump into something after WWE. And the reason why I say that is because sometimes athletes, entertainers, any profession you're in, sometimes you're in the profession, you get obsessed with it, and you almost get brainwashed that it's the end all be all, right? Like when you're in WWE, most of the people in WWE are diehards from their kids. So they're like, oh, I'm at the Mecca, which it is a privilege. I'm at the Mecca, oh my gosh, but like when I get fired, like what am I gonna do next? Is my life over? Am I ever gonna make money? And even I had the fear when I was playing in the NFL and I had the privilege to play for 6 years in the league. And I was like, man, I'm scared when football's over. But I want you to talk about, first of all, your transition out of WWE to being successful, but obviously it sounds like you've made money for a while and been successful. So talk about that part of your life of always, how are you successful? How'd you live? How'd you manage your money? How's your financial literacy? Because I think people need to hear that are listening to this, because it's not the end all be all of the career you're in. And you could also branch off and experience other professions and be very successful.
Right. I think for one, my support. I've been with my husband since I was 15 years old. We started a construction company when I was in the military. I was a corporal making six figures just with my construction company alone. I took a massive pay cut to be in WWE. And when I say pay cut, it's like my husband could hold it down, but we're like this. Like I'm not going nowhere without him. So like if I'm going, he's going, and we're gonna like I made sure all of our financial stuff was squared away as far as making sure our business license were still up to date, making sure we were good to go. Because that cut, that phone call of thank you for your time on WWE, but good luck. I knew that could come at any moment.
It's always going to
But
come for everybody.
Good luck with your
It's
future
going to come. It's
endeavors.
going to come
Right?
for everybody. That's the thing.
yeah,
It's a
I
guaranteed
wasn't
thing.
worried.
It's coming.
I wasn't worried because that brainwash stuff where they think, like I said, I came into this like squared away to where no matter what happened, the only thing negative was I was taking a pay cut to try to like create a
Hey,
platform
me
that I
too.
could use to make a difference,
I took
right?
a big pay
So,
cut too.
oh yeah,
Yeah, you
yeah.
both
No,
did.
and my husband, God bless it, he supported me the whole way. So he's like stepping out of like his like our entire company.
He's
We
the
have a crew
best.
of like seven. We have a crew of seven. Now he's on these flights, traveling all over the world with this crazy, like just watching these, WWE superstars chase this dream and this mind warp. And we're looking at each other like, what the fuck, like, and so, and every paycheck, like Saudi Arabia, awesome impact we made, me and Natty. That's another one of my
Yep.
just highlights.
Amazing.
That whole check I took and paid everything off. My next check, I bought more investment properties. My next check,
That's
I
awesome.
never once like stacked my money up and sat there with a good bank account.
Yep.
I was buying.
I love it.
I'll put it to you this way, guys. I was working on my future endeavors for a while.
Right.
You know what I
That's
mean?
so
Like,
important.
And it's so
man.
important.
And
That's
if
why I always say.
listen, Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah,
Sorry,
no, that's why we said it in our last episode, but it's like, that's why I tried to show a lot of the NXT girls because they're all, 20, 21, so young. Like, I tried to explain to them, and a lot of them grew up, this was their dream, and finally they're here. And I'm like, that's awesome. Like you said, it is a privilege, but have other things set up and don't have your eggs in all one basket because you will get that phone call. Everyone's going to get it. And, we wish you the best with your future endeavors. We always joke around about that. That's how they do their send off. But future endeavors, like you just said, if you create businesses, or even if they're small stuff, like even like Daria and I did the Demandy's Donuts for so long, like we might not have made a ton of money off of it, but it was building a brand. We had visions for the future. We still do. We, were able to create another platform like on YouTube to talk about what we do on, car cam style, traveling the world, seeing behind the scenes. Like you have to have that mindset of just getting yourself in different things, which, some might be something like fan time, an exclusive fan site, and then you get fired.
Talk about
but
fan
that's
time,
where I was
please.
going to.
There
Let's
you go.
talk about
there
fan
you
time.
go, Macey.
Little shimmy,
I want to
shimmy.
hear it. I want to hear all about your fan time.
Yeah. So how has your fan
Please.
time been, Mace?
Oh, it's been incredible. And real quick, because you made a comment, like it may not have taken off the way it's learning. Like every little thing, even with Demandy's Donuts, you learn so much.
Yes.
But that's the chase. That's the hustle. That's what I freaking love. I cannot stand when you do something and it just works. I want to work.
Yeah.
Because you learn more grit, more knowledge. When shit doesn't go as planned, right? That's where you learn the most, and that's where you're more set up for the future when stuff does kind of come around. But
100%.
no, fan time, Mandy. You know me. Like when we started this, when you guys welcomed me on, you made a comment like, "Oh, teach me how to put the makeup on." I come from a shit life, right? Nobody taught me how to be beautiful. Nobody taught me. I went into WWE. I'm looking at all y'all like how I have never felt more beautiful in my entire life.
See?
But I also would have never thought that I would have a fan time. Never. But I'm having so much fun. I feel sexy. I am more confident at 33 than I've ever been.
I love it.
Good for you.
Like, there has never been, and I get a lot of comments. I don't know if you did or do, but like, shame on you.
Oh,
This
yeah.
is just, let me tell you, what? Shame on
me.
when my ass was out and it went viral and the camera
Right.
crew got straight up in the crevices, and that made that company more money.
And you didn't get
than-
paid
And
a
you
dollar
didn't
from
get
that.
$1.
Oh, I didn't get a cent. I didn't get a single red penny.
Right.
But none of these fans or none of these people were like, "Oh, the audacity of her bending down and touching her ankles." Nothing. But now that I'm getting like
Ain't that.
getting a little coins for
Right.
doing some stuff, like I don't regret it. I'm having the best time. And another thing I get is like, well, what does your husband think?
Uh-huh.
Sweet, I've been with that man since I was 15. And the same of you nasty things that are like, shame on you. It's like, you want to compare body counts, sweetheart? Because I promise you, they may get some sneak peeks and we may be having some fun on my fan time. But my body count is right here.
Mm-hmm.
Right here. You do the math, that over 15 freaking years.
I love it.
So yeah, I may be jiggling a little bit and having some fun but the fun continues when that camera goes off, and it's great. It's great. And besides the point, who's gonna take the best angles? You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I can't be getting all the good shots, so somebody's got to help.
That's what I was
love
gonna say. You might have to bring Fonz in on some of that content. Sabby's joined in on ours, right,
yeah,
babe?
we've had a couple good collabs.
I told you, right? Listen,
he's ready, bro. He's always ready.
oh, he's always ready. I know, and I love your guys' relationship. I always have. It's amazing. I used to joke around sometimes about how, you guys are both a little crazy, but nothing wrong with being crazy. That's true love, and I love it. But yeah, getting back to the fan time. I mean, I'm so excited to have you on there. I definitely should we tell them that we're going to be having a collaboration soon?
A little collab. Macey and Mandy.
Macey and Mandy. That sounds good.
That's awesome.
Oh my God, Eminem.
But
Eminem.
Honestly, though,
God, we could do like a full tub full of chocolate. Oh my God, M&M's.
M&M's.
I love it.
That's
M&M's
great.
but you know what?
Somebody call M&M's and see what we can do, because there's a third collaboration, sweetheart.
You know what's also beautiful too,
Sponsor.
that people need to understand that both you beautiful women are doing this you guys created a platform already with all your success. So this is why something like this it's a reward for all your hard work, right? It really is. Like, you guys created such a platform that you can grow on a subscription-based platform, interact with your fans, talk with your fans, have a little fun with your fans, and have an enjoyment. Honestly.
Yeah.
And then also, I want to give your husband a compliment, because I admire that, because that means he has confidence and he has trust in his woman.
Good
and that's
point.
why some people say something to me, and I look at them and I kind of smile and I say, I know who I am as a man, and I'm very confident who I am as a man. And I trust my fiance with the world. And at the end of the day, a man has to have that kind of confidence to be able to let other men look at their wife or fiance. And I think I admire that from your husband. So please tell him I said that I think that's real. I like that. I really admire it, because a lot of guys, I mean, will say absolutely not. My girlfriend, my fiance.
Yeah.
And
What
I'm
does your
like,
husband think of this? All this.
And then I'm like, hold on. If these women, you two, created such a platform and are so successful already, why wouldn't they take advantage of that opportunity to talk to their fans, have fun with their fans? They created that. They had the hard work to have that. And let's face a fact right now. Nobody gives a fuck about you. Nobody's coming to pay your bills. Nobody's coming to help you, right? So if you have that opportunity, the person talking shit about you right now would die to be in your freaking shoes.
I was just going to say that,
So let's make something clear right now.
The people that talk the most shit are the people that want to do it so
100%.
bad, but they can't, or they just don't. I don't know.
Come on, let's be honest.
And it's like you just said, nobody's coming for you. Set yourself up.
That's what she's saying all the time.
Exactly.
All about her family. I love it.
Nobody's coming. Nobody cares.
That's another one I get. Is
Nobody cares about your bank account or your bills.
What? Oh yeah. Let's not even disclose those numbers, sweetheart. But
I love it.
Nobody can, like, they're so quick to be like, what is your daughter gonna say when she sees this? I'm like, my kid is barefoot out on the farm right now feeding the horses, and I'm making dinner. Like, my kid, if you want to talk about opinions and being very judgmental, what the hell is your baby doing on social media?
Right.
What the hell is she doing on, going in? My kid don't do that. She's 11. She does no phone, no social media. No, I made her an Instagram, because I'm going to hear a lot of people, yes, she does. She don't know it. She's never seen it. That's for her down the line for whatever endeavor she gets into, which I'll support. But my kid ain't doing all that. So, like, the way I raise my babies are barefoot outside. No video games, no TV, no social media. So I promise you, and she's homeschooled. She ain't with homeboy in the back of the gym saying, oh, your mom's like shaking her. Well, y'all gotta go see. Great.
Yeah.
But my kid don't live that life. And when and if the time comes that's like, oh, is that my mom? She'll be old enough to be like, to be firm in her character and her morals and values, and but I promise you, it ain't gonna be no 9, 10, 11, 12-year-old little girl outside barefoot freaking on the farm working the chickens, because that's how my baby's raised. So don't get it twisted. They're wild. I think how the majority of people raise their kids is shit. My kid ain't raised like that. What mama does at nighttime, my baby has none of her business, none of her concern. She has no idea, because she's a kid.
And worry about your own children.
But honestly, like, look how both you women look amazing physically, right? But that doesn't come by accident.
No.
Like, how much work you guys put into that stuff, right? So I would reap all the benefits. I would listen, get the bags, set up the family, and let them talk.
It's not, I have never, like, after, like, I'm going to go do some shoots tonight. I have never felt it's so weird to say this, because I would have never thought. I was in the military, no makeup, rough life. I would have never thought, when I had that conversation with Mandy, I asked her about it, like, what is it like? I would have never thought. My first shoot that I did afterwards, I was like, damn, I am beautiful. I have never felt more sexy in my life.
People don't realize that. It's actually a confidence booster. Yeah.
I literally go to bed very comfortably after every set, after talking to all my fans. I mean, I just feel more beautiful than I have ever felt. I don't need to hear that from anybody. I'm just talking about just looking at my photos. I'm like,
damn, I look good.
Beautiful woman. Like,
good for you, ladies, man.
No, and I
Awesome.
love that, Mace. You told me that when I was texting you a couple days ago about it, and I was like thinking in my head, I'm like, I love that for you because, like you said, your background and where you came from. Yeah, you know. But I feel like always too, though, Mace, you were always so funny. Like, even like, oh, I don't know if I could do that. And then you go to do it. And I remember me and Daria would be like, bitch, are you working us? Because you know how to do that. Like, remember like certain things you would pick up so fast, like whether it was too girly.
I'm
Exactly.
addicted to competition. I've seen y'all's face down, ass up, sliding into the ring. I'm like, hey, if that's what we're doing, because that's what they're doing, then I'm gonna learn how to do it. And that's another thing. It's like, how do you feel about yourself? Listen, to be honest, I don't like to have to post, sexy photos in thong bikinis on my Instagram. I hated it, but what sex sells, beautiful women sells in WWE, outside of WWE, at car shows, whatever the case may be. But at least now, and Mandy, I think you and I are a lot alike in many ways. At least now it's on a protected site where you have to be an adult. So I don't have to flush my sexy content out anymore on Instagram, or, you know what I mean? Stuff like that. Now it's a protected site where I don't have to worry about babies whose parents aren't doing what they need to do and letting them just run wild with Instagram. Now it's harder to get to see that kind of content, and it's more protected, which I like as a mom myself. And a lot of people don't want to have that conversation.
Right. And like you said earlier, I think just to piggyback a little bit is that, especially my character, we all know, I mean, I was the sex symbol. Like, I was a home wrecker. I would come out in a towel. I'd come out stealing your husband. I'd be like, like you said before, your ass was out, they went viral. I mean, all those things, but because, they couldn't monetize off of my sex selling, whatever the hell you want to call it. See you later. Strip the title, future endeavors, have a great time. So at the end of the day, what this all comes down to is own your brand, monetize off of your brand, protect your brand.
Do what makes you happy.
Exactly.
Do what makes you happy.
I love it.
Do what makes you happy. Nobody's coming for you. Sabby always says that, and it's true. Nobody is. You have a family, and also I know we have to get going soon, but I also wanted to say congratulations on Sunny and Summers Cafe, or is it Summer and Sunny? Does it matter?
Sunny Summers Cafe.
Sunny Summers. Okay, so those are her two daughters. I think babe. I was telling you they opened up a cafe, and where is it? South Carolina.
Yeah, it's in Beaufort, South Carolina. It's a mental health cafe, so I don't have to sit in catering anymore and rack my brain on how to help people. I actually have a brick and mortar location. We sell lavender, lattes, mental health seminars. We host AA meetings for, Alcohol Anonymous groups to be able to come in and get their classes that they need and have their events.
Amazing.
And so I feel like that, to me, makes me feel like I'm a champion.
Wow.
That to me is a fight that I'm fighting every day. And then at night
it's playtime.
Well, listen, you girls are killing the game, man. I'm proud of both of you. And listen, Macey, it was an extreme honor to have you on.
Yes, thanks,
Power
Mace, for
Alphas, because you are an alpha, probably one of the most alpha women I've ever met, and I admire
definitely.
it. And just to kind of sum up this podcast, kind of wrap this whole thing up, I think the biggest message too is learning where to put the addiction. Learning where to put the obsessions. And I think that's a very vital part, that we all have obsessions, we all have addictions. Just make sure you recognize those addictions and make sure you put them in the correct places to be successful. And I think that's it. And
you can break the cycle.
Absolutely, you can break the cycle.
Like Macey did. That's definitely. And also, guys, stay tuned because collaboration going to be happening soon. So we'll keep you guys posted on that. And Macey, thank you so much. We really appreciate it. And make sure you guys like and subscribe our YouTube channel so you can get notifications for the next episode. And we're very excited to have our first guest and amazing woman. Obviously, like Sabby said, you're definitely even a little more alpha than me. I was going to be like, more than me, babe?
Yeah.
No, you are, though.
You're a bad bitch. But hey, listen, on your closing statement, say whatever you want to say. It's a message out there. You have so many great messages. You said so many today, but go ahead and just kind of close what you want to close with, because your story is so inspiring, and I think a lot of people need to hear it and learn about it.
Life is short. Don't care what people think. Do what makes you legitimately happy. Have that addiction and go after it. And make sure, and don't lose sleep at night. As long as you can sleep good at night, don't give a shit what anybody thinks. Life is too short not to be happy. So yeah, and I think everybody in this podcast right now is happy as hell, and I love that for us.
Cheers to that.
Cheers.
Thanks, Mace.
Thanks, Mace. Keep killing the game, girl.
Yes.
Keep killing the game.
You
Love it.
guys too.
Thanks. We'll see you soon.